Hi everyone, today we're going to be making a custom card holder. This holder can hold gift cards, or if you modify it to be a little bit bigger on the inside, it can also be used to hold business cards. On the front of this card holder is a map. This one is showing LAX, so you can create a map for your business or any other location you'd like. This is a multi-step project and is a little bit more advanced. If you want a simpler project, you can check out my coaster tutorial. So let's go ahead and get started. Today, we're going to be using Laser Map Maker to generate our maps and produce the SVG files. We're going to edit the SVG map file in the xTools Creative Space software. Then, we're going to cut out the map on the xTool M1 Ultra machine and glue the pieces together. Let's go ahead and start at Laser Map Maker. Over here on the upper right hand corner, we're going to hit New Project. Let's give our project a name. Select Starter Template, and then Create Project. Here's the default New York City map for our new file. Let's go over to the menu bar on the right and click on Search Address. And we're going to go ahead and type in Los Angeles Airport. Now we have relocated over to LAX on the map. Next, let's change the aspect ratio. You can select the predetermined selections to see what they look like, or you can make your own. Once you have the correct ratio, let's adjust the map to the view that we want. Here, I'm just simply scrolling with my mouse wheel to zoom in and out, and then dragging to move the map. Next, we're going to adjust the layers. This is going to be a 2-layer map, so we're going to go ahead and delete the land layer. However, let's check to see what's actually here. As you can see, it's landfill and waterfill. You can choose to add these items back in a different layer if you want to. Let's go ahead and delete the entire layer. Now let's see what's in the remaining layers. For this project, I want the land layer to be engraved and showing most of the minor roads. I want the roads layer to be cut and showing only the freeways. So I'm going to go and move these features around. At this time, you have to delete a feature from one layer before you can add it to another layer. One thing I like to do is use this eyeball to hide everything in the layer so I can see everything on the other layers. I also like to toggle the inspect mode over here on the right menu bar. With this on, I can see the name of the element when I'm hovering over it with a mouse. If you click on it, it also highlights the element on the left. This makes it really easy to identify the feature. So here I'm deleting the roadways secondary, tertiary on the road layer. And then going to the land layer, I'm going to add it. Let's go ahead and make the line thickness thinner. Another feature I want to add in is the airport. So let's go to Roads, then Airways, and select Airports. And look, we can see LAX and its terminals. I think that's pretty cool. We can go back to the layer, go to Miscellaneous, and then Buildings Outlines. And now we can see some of the buildings too. It's not highly detailed, but it's a good start if you want to add more details to it for your project. But let's move on and export our file. Here we can take one final look at our 2 layers. You can see them separately or stacked. On the left, I usually leave it at default settings, so let's go ahead and export. Let's wait for the download zip button to light up. Download the output to our computer. Extract the zip file. And here are the 2 SVG files, ready to be sent to the laser machine. Now on to part 2. Let's add the finishing touches to our project. Here I am dragging and dropping in the 2 SVG files. Let's go ahead and align them. I'm also going to resize it. Next, we're going to create a frame with rounded borders. We're starting with a rectangle, the same size as our map. Then I'm going to curve the edges 0.25. Let's duplicate it and put it to the side. Let's start with the roads layer. We're going to ungroup the map, delete the outside border, and open up these roads. There's a little line at the end of the roads. If we leave it, the machine will cut straight through. So we don't want that. We need to delete that line so that the roads will connect to the outside border. Once that's done, let's go ahead and move in our rounded rectangle. Let's make sure the size matches the current frame around the map. Now let's zoom in, select all the objects, and then we're going to go up here and click Subtract at Overlap. Sometimes you might see extra lines, but that's okay. We can delete them. We're going to double click the object to edit. Now we have all these vector lines connected by dots. We're going to select the scissor tool up here on the top, and then we're going to cut and remove any lines we don't want. Remember, a line means the laser is going to cut through it. This includes the extra lines and the lines on the sharp corners. You might need to zoom in quite a lot to see better. You can cut any lines between two dots. If it's just dots, you can use the arrow tool to select them. Let's grab another rounded rectangle and bring it down. We're going to make it a little bit bigger than our map to complete the outer side of the frame. Let's make a copy of the outer border and add it over to the engraved layer too. Now going back to the cut layer, we're going to add a rectangle to the bottom of this frame. We're going to add some text and then set it to Engrave. Zooming in, we're going to make sure that the rectangle overlaps the lines of the inner border. Then selecting the inner border in the rectangle, we're going to subtract at overlap. Let's go ahead and double click it to edit and clean up the lines. When we're done, you can see that the rectangle is now merged into the frame. Now let's make a copy of the outer frame, and then we're going to add a new rectangle. I'm going to make it 3.8 by 2.25 inches, and we're going to rotate it by -64 degrees. I'm going to drag it into the rectangle, select both objects, and once again, we're going to go and subtract at overlap. Once it's one object, we're going to double click to edit and delete any lines we don't want. Finally, let's go to the engraved map layer and delete the original border. Alright, we're almost ready to cut. Here are the final pieces. We have the back piece that's a solid rectangle, the inner card holder slot, and the 2 layers of maps. I'm going to be using basswood, and here are the cut and engrave settings. Let's go ahead and load some wood into the M1 Ultra and start the cut. Alright everyone, and we are done. So let's take a look at our pieces. Here is the top piece. This is the freeway section. It says Los Angeles Airport down here. Here is the engraved layer. We see the airport, the terminals, and then together it looks like this. And here is the middle piece where you can slide in your card, and the back piece. So when you glue everything together, it's going to look like this, where there is a little slot here on the top. So if you have a gift card or a business card, it would just slide in like this. So once it's all glued in together, it slides into this slot like this. And I think it looks really cool. I did make a second set using the borax method, and if you don't know what the borax method is, it's just a way to get your engravings to be darker, and I do have a separate video for that, so make sure and check it out if you're interested. So here is the airport, the engraved layer. As you can see, it's quite dark, and this does need to be sealed because there is a lot of soot here. And so if you rub it, it's going to smear. So I would seal this with resin or seal it with a few layers of lacquer. Here is the top layer. And so as you can see with the borax method, this actually looks very burnt. I don't know if you can see that. Let me turn this over. So it's very, very dark. And it looks quite burnt. So I actually don't like it like this. I actually like the regular engraving better. I also printed out a few extra of these so you can see that if you stack them, you can make this much wider. And that way, if you have business cards, you can put a whole stack of them in here. So as you can see here, this one can hold more cards, and this one can probably hold 1 gift card or maybe 5 business cards. Alright everyone, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you have any suggestions for my next video, let me know down below in the comment section. And I'll see you next time. Bye!